All right, we're going to get going here. All right, this video we're going to do a recap of a $7,000 quarter hunt. That's the equivalent of 14 boxes of quarters. Took me over a week to get through all those quarters, so bear with me. It's a lot to go through. I'm going to try to be quick. What I'm going to do first is cover the minor stuff. I found a lot of die chip errors, minor double dies. I'm going to go through those first, just on the scope. I'm going to try to just give one good example of each. So you kind of give me the idea of what I look for in quarters. Now, these varieties are not worth a lot of money, you know, maybe $1 or $2 a piece, up to $3 or $4, maybe $5 a piece, depending on how extreme they are. Some of them are actually worth even more than that. Depends on where the die chips are or the cracks. I'll just kind of give you some examples as I go through. I got the camera pointed toward my scope screen so you can kind of see better, because I'm going to do some pointing with my pen, or pointer as you can call it. That way you kind of see exactly what I'm looking for. All right, let me get this. There we go. All right. This first one is a pretty well-known variety. Now, this may not be a perfect example of this coin. It's an 83 Philadelphia quarter. 83p. It's beat out, but on this quarter, you can find what's called a spitting eagle. You'll see a die clash mark right there below the beak, the eagle going down toward the wing. This one is not a perfect example. There are better ones. This one might even not even be attributable, but it's the best one I could find to kind of show an example. But you can kind of see that crack, well, more like a clash mark going right through there. Most of them are polished off, but not always. That's one thing that I found. Here's another one. It's called a spitting horse. It's the 1999 Philadelphia Delaware quarter on the state quarters. If you go here to the horse, this is a nice example. You can see that die crack running straight from the mouth of the horse. Looks like the horse is spitting. They sell for about $5 a piece online, between $2 to $5 a piece. This one's in pretty good shape, so it would be a better example. Speaking of horses, this is called the pooping horse. It's on the 2006 Nevada Philadelphia quarter. So you have 3 horses, and that one there looks like it had an accident. Right there is a massive die chip on the back of its leg. Actually, there are 2 of them, 1 and 2. That's a better example. Typically, the die chips are smaller than that, but that's what you look for on these. These are all minor, but they do have a little bit of a premium on them on the market. People do collect them. Here's a 2019 Lowell quarter. In this area right here, you often find die cracks right there in this area. There's one here, and there's another big one inside this area right here. You can see it. There we go. You can kind of see what I'm looking for here. Sometimes the more extreme ones are worth a little bit more money than this. I'll lower this camera a little bit. Bring it back a little bit so you can see a little better. Just an example of a die crack you can look for on these quarters. Here's a new Edith Kanaka-Ole quarters. Found some cool die chips on these too. Check out that. Right there in the KA. Right there, some big die chips running through the lettering. Found another one with a smaller chip in it in the A right there. And even another one with a die chip on her nose. Check that out. Right there. These are worth a lot of money. They're probably worth a few bucks a piece. They're on new, so they might have a little more premium now, but it won't last forever. This next one is just a regular die chip I found this is the 2005 Kansas quarter, known for the Ngotri rust grease error. This one just has this little die chip here on the N. That's pretty common on these. I find these quite a bit with chips in the N and the R especially. I just kept it because this is just a regular die chip, but something to look for. Next one is the actual Ngotri rust quarter variety. And see how the T looks kind of weak on this example? On this one, the G and the T are really weak. And this third one, the I is kind of weak, the D is pretty weak, the T and the R are pretty weak. Typically with these, the more letters that are missing from the grease, the more they're worth. If you have 4 letters missing or more, they can be worth quite a bit of money, possibly over $100. I believe there's a sale recently of one that sold for over $100, similar to this one. This is not quite weak enough on the lettering, but having 3 or 4 letters on them increases the value because people buy the progressions, and those higher progressions are scarcer. I have one, I believe, that has 5 of the letters missing. And while we're on the subject of grease strikes, check out this coin. Very, very weak lettering. Almost all around the entire coin. Weak details everywhere, except from the very center. The back of the coin is pretty much regular Connecticut quarter. Just the front. That's actually a good mint error to find. Grease strikes have a good premium on them. Usually between $10 and $25. All right. Here we have a 2008 Alaska state quarter with the claw die chip. See right there on that claw, there's a chip. I usually find a lot of these. These are not rare. It's called the extra claw die chip. They're not worth a lot of money, maybe $2, $3, $4 tops, but they're out there. Here's a 2020 Silver Bay quarter. You can find die chips on the tree on the back of this coin. You'll see one here, a big one there, and there was another one, I believe, down here. I usually keep them if there's at least two or more die chips on them. They gotta have at least that many though. Here's a modern quarter. Here's a Bessie Coleman 2023 quarter, Philadelphia. If you haven't heard about these, the die chip on the plane. If the chip goes up into the motto, they're worth even more money. There's a couple of examples. I actually found some. You can actually find some of the chip inside the wing as well. There's another example of one right there. These are pretty good finds. I found a few of them because I went through so many quarters. Here's another coin with a die chip on it. Get that camera just right. This is the 2013 South Dakota quarter. You'll see die chips for the top of the monument here. Another example real quick. These are smaller chip, but you can see it. All right. Here's a 2020 Tallgrass Prairie quarter with a butterfly on the back. This is a minimal example, but you can find die chips on these butterflies quite a bit. This one has one right there. Usually they're on this side of the wing or on the very top. But that's the only one I could find that just to show an example of that. They're called the broken wing die chip. Here's a die class not many people know about on the 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter. You look right in front of his nose here. You'll see some clashing from the Alvarez die right there. These are not hard to find. They're pretty common. Normally they're polished out. Often you'll see polish marks around his face. That's why, because there was some clashing in that area that the Mint employees tried to polish out. They're pretty cool. I think they're worth a little bit of a premium as well. Here's some older quarters from the 60s and 70s. I find them with die cracks on them all the time because I do scope them for the major varieties. You see a big crack going through this one right here, just as an example of what to look for. Here's another example with one going right through here. Maybe just one on that one. Yeah, it has one crack going right through here. Kind of gives you an idea what to look for. These are pretty common on the 60s and 70s quarters, especially early 70s. On Philadelphia Block Island, Rhode Island quarters. The top of the bird is a great place for die chips. This is a Philadelphia version. Big die chip in this area here. Very weak area on the die. They can also be found in the Denver versions too. Here's a Denver version right there. Same die chip. Denver coin. Got a few more to go, then we'll go to the varieties. Here is a 2016 West Virginia quarter. Philadelphia. By the way, these are all Philadelphias unless I say otherwise. You can find die chips on the top of the building here. And inside this area here on the coin. Pretty common to find those there. They're considered a minor error, of course, but here's a 2017 Missouri quarter with a die chip in the tree limbs up here. Sometimes these can be enormous. They can be like this big. This one's smaller, but it's there. It's the best example I could find. And here is the Crossing the Delaware quarter with the crown die chip on it. These are very small, but you want them bigger than that. And this is the early progression. You can see that die chip right there. I only found 2 examples, and I believe they're from the same exact die because they have the same exact shape on the chip. This is the second version. These are on the Philadelphias also. Now, if you find the better progressions, they're worth, like the medium progressions usually sell for about $30. The higher progressions sell for about $50. Used to be a lot more. Here's a 2008 Arizona Philadelphia state quarter with all the cactuses on it, cacti, I should say. And here where the JFM initials are, you'll find die chips in this area. They call it extra cactus leaves. Looks more like rocks to me, but you can see the JFM initials have been covered up. And sometimes you'll find them around the date as well in this area, which is even better. They're a minor variety, or not variety, but minor error. People do collect them though. Here's a 2015 Nebraska state quarter homestead version, often known for the snow on the roof, which I did not find, but I did find the bird nest version with this die chip here above the window. I call it the bird nest. And here's a 2020 Air American small bat quarter, known for the blind bat strike through, which can be found in this area of the face and on this eye. This one just has what's called the extra whiskers error. You can see the scratch marks from the feeder fingers for the planchet right here. And it looks like almost doubling in this area, but it's mainly just scratch marks from down there inside the hollowed out area there in the field. They're not worth a lot of money, but they are something you can look for. Just minor if you're looking for just minor stuff in your quarters. Here's a 2021 Tuskegee Airmen quarter with a die chip on the goggles. Right there. They can be found here, pretty much anywhere on the goggles you'll find them. You'll find them inside the glass, on the side. That's a decent example. It's the best one I could find anyway. And last for die chips, we have the die chip on the mouth. Modern quarters, American woman quarters. You can see that is looks like a big cold sore on his mouth. Here's another example. Not quite as extreme, but you can find these pretty often. They're not worth a lot. They're worth like a buck or two at a time. Plus, you can sometimes find them on the nose too. This one's not very extreme, but you can see what was starting to be a big chip. So if you look for, they sell for about $1 a piece. They're not worth a lot of money. Now on to varieties. Those are all the die chips I could find. That's the majority of what I look for. Here's a 2016 South Carolina quarter, Philadelphia. And if you look in this area right here, you can see some doubling here right below his coat line right there. You'll find little doubled areas all the way along this little area right through here sometimes. These are double dies. They're minor varieties. They're very minor, but you can see it right there. I look for just about everything I could find. Here's another example with a doubling toward a little bit further up the jacket right there, the bottom. All right. Here's a fun one I like to find. This is the 2013 Fort McHenry, Maryland quarter. Check out the explosions there. You see, basically, I see doubling from here all the way up along the entire right-hand side of the explosion area. And you also find it here along this, just a little bit along the side of the flag right here. There are different varieties. Sometimes the flag has doubling on the bottom here. Sometimes you'll just have doubling, little extra spots here along the flag and along the building right here along the bottom. This one has this is the more extreme one of all of them, though. That's why I'm showing it. Here's a 2016 West Virginia Harper's Ferry quarter. These are one of my favorite varieties to find. They're a minor variety, but they're really cool. If you look inside the windows there, you can see it. You'll see extra windows inside the windows. One there, and one there. It's kind of hard to see unless you have a really good scope. But I think it's pretty. I think you'll be able to see that. I have another example. That was a little dirty. Let me get a better one. Yeah, there's another example right here with a different variety. You can see doubling right here on this window right there. Mainly just on one on that one, but that's where to look for. There's another example. On the left-hand side of all these windows right here, all inside there. Yeah, they usually sell for about $4 to $5 online if they're in decent shape. People do collect the different ones because there are quite a few different ones that you can find. Here's a 2005 Oregon Philadelphia. Here on the island in the center, you can see this little spot. These are not very easy to find. They're really not that common either. But right here along the bottom of this the volcano right here, which is right, this area right here, on the bottom you'll see little spots of doubling. They're on both Denver and the Philadelphia versions. Here's a more extreme example. I say extreme, but it's just a little bit different right there. You can see that. There we go. The scope's pointed a little bit lower than normal. All right. I mean, I'm doing this lowering a little bit, maybe. I'll just leave it like it is. It's fine. Here's a 2012 Alaska Philadelphia quarter with a double neck on the goat, on the mountain goat or sheep, whatever you want to call it, right here. That's a better example than normal. Usually they're a little less extreme normally. Here's a slightly lesser example right there. I have a stack of just about all these varieties. It's a pretty well-known year to look for, the 2007 Wyoming state quarter. This is not a major one, but you can see the doubling right here, right in this area right here. Sometimes there are extra spurs coming out, which are the better ones. They're worth quite a bit more money because some of them are PCS recognized, I believe. This one's not going to be, though. It's too minor. Here is a new variety that I found recently, a Salt River Bay 2020 quarter with the doubling inside the branches of the tree right here. I just started looking for these. I just found one out of all the quarters I checked through this week. Right there is a little bit of a doubling area right there. It's actually part of this design area right here, stuck in there. You can kind of see it. It's minor, but I just noticed one, so I kept it. Here's a 2018 Rhode Island quarter, Block Island, Rhode Island. These are tough to find. Here at the bottom of the wings, in between there, you can sometimes find doubling. If I can get the show. There you go. You can kind of see it right there. Right there is a little piece of wing feather sticking out right there. It's tough to see it, but sometimes they're a little more obvious than that sometimes. That one's kind of tight to see. That's where you check. Here's one not many people know about. 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter. As you can see, look under his sleeve right here, his cuff. See that big chunk sticking out right there? That's not supposed to be there. It's a double die. Most modern quarters have the doubling around the center of the coin. They're class 9 double dies, which basically means the planchet shook during the striking process or had some minor adjustments during the strike, and it created a double rotation toward the very center. You can see another one here. I found quite a few examples of these. Here's another one with the doubling on this side toward the upper end of the cuff. All right. Now we have 2004 Wisconsin Philadelphia quarter. Again, these are all Philadelphias unless I mention them that they're not. If you look at the nose on the cow here, you'll see something. It's very minor. Like I said, these are very minor, and it's always toward the center of the coin, right there. So these varieties are not worth a lot of money, but they're usually worth at least $2 to $3 a piece, $2 to $5 on average. But if you think about it, that's at least 8 times face value. Right there. Had a couple of decent examples of this one. This is a different die, but some more doubling right there in the nose. Kind of see it. All right. And here's a 2013 Ohio quarter. Perry's Victory. On this quarter, you'll look on the side of his leg here, right in this area. That little bump is doubling. It's a minor variety again. That's where you'll find it on this date. Here's a 2013 Nevada Great Basin quarter. These have doubling on the tree. You'll see the splitting here on the bottom of these little leaves right here on this tree, all the way up. But there are actually 2 more areas to check. Another area to check is this area right here, and down here at the bottom along this area right here. This one has it toward the bottom right here. And this one may have it at the top. Nope, it's also there's a different die, but more up here at the top. See what else we got here? I had one more. Another one at the bottom, right there. There's 3 different dies there. All right. Now here's some 2015 Delaware Bombay hook quarters. These have a ton of varieties. I like finding them because they're always different, typically. Now, if you look in here, toward these little glass inlets here, you'll see some extra marks right here. You can't really tell what it looks like right now, but when I turn it around, you'll see the difference. What that is extra grass in the water. You can see it a little more clearly now, right in there. You also find those little spikes here and there that shouldn't be in the area. On this one, these 2 lines right here coming down shouldn't be there. Just to give an example, remember what that looks like. And look at this one. It doesn't have it. The design actually stops there. This one goes a little further out. I actually almost three serifs out, or serifs, but marks. All right, we're getting through these. Here's a 2008 New Mexico Philadelphia quarter. Here's something else that not many people look for: the doubled ear variety. If you look right there, there's a little bit of a doubled earlobe right there, a DDO. Now, doubled earlobes can be found on multiple dates. This is the New Mexico quarter, as you can see, but you can find it on other dates. Here's another one. Here's a 2005 Minnesota quarter, not the DDR with the extra tree, not that one, but the other one, the extra earlobe. I'll turn it around. You see it plain as day right there, coming down right there. Extra earlobe on that one. Here's one with extra hair behind the ear. There's a 2001 North Carolina Philadelphia quarter. Put it like this, you can see it right behind the ear. It's kind of tough to see it, but right there, you see little extra hairlines running between the ear and the other hair, and they're horizontal when they shouldn't be, and they shouldn't even be there actually. Right there. There are actually 2 marks. These are not very hard to find. You just gotta, as long as you look at them tight enough and the coin hasn't been too worn, you can see them. Here's a new one, 2022 Sally Ride. These are known for die clashes, but I did not find a die clash on these, which actually happens in this area here toward the top and toward her neckline. But if you look at the neckline on this one, you'll see some doubling right there on her collar. Very fairly recently discovered, but I started looking for everything recently, so that comes out. I kind of check it once in a while. And here's a 2015 Saratoga, New York, America the Beautiful quarter. If you look inside the handle of the sword here, you'll see some. It's supposed to be completely just a round open area. This one is not. It's got extra design elements inside there. Here's another one with some minor design elements. It's not an extreme, but you can see it. Actually, it's about the same. Here toward the top in this area right there. It should be open. Here's a lesser example. I kind of give you the difference. A little bit doubling, but it's mostly open on this one. Give you an idea what to look for. All right. Here is a 2008 Oklahoma quarter, doubled earlobe as well. I found 3 different dates with double earlobes, which is rare. I almost never find the doubled ears. They're pretty tough to find. But you can see this is the Oklahoma version right there. They're very identical to the other ones. But I did find something cool on this date also. Here's a different 2008 Oklahoma quarter with the bird on the back. Check this out. This gets me excited. I think it's a new variety. Look inside, look behind the ear on this one. There's an extra hairline running right along here that should not be there. It's raised. I'm not sure if it's the hair or the ear. I can't tell. It's curved, so it's probably hair. It could be this area in here, but you can see that is very, very distinct and raised. It is not on any website that I know of. I couldn't find it. I'll double check it later, but I'm not sure if I checked Wexler or not. But I didn't see it before, so it's kind of cool. And then I've got 2015 Nebraska Homestead again, known for the snow on the roof and the leaky bucket. This is not that. This is a double die. Check out the window here, window here, window here, window here. Normal. Look at this window. It's got another window inside of it. If I tilt it, you'll see it even better. See the extra window right there inside the window? That is a variety. It's minor, but it's cool, huh? Here's another one with a small amount of window showing right here at the bottom and the side. Just a little bit. A more worn example. Second to last of the varieties. I'm saving the best for last. Here, well, this is not the last one. This is a 2013 South Dakota quarter. These are very common with Mount Rushmore on the back. If you look at the nose, the bridge of his nose, you'll find varieties on these things all the time. You'll see extra chunk of the bridge of his nose right here. I'll show one more example to kind of give you an idea what to look for. These are bigger. Sometimes they're just little bitty small amounts. But you can see the difference right through here. Sometimes they're lesser. Like this example has just a smaller bump on it right in the center. That's a little smaller one, but it's there. These are not common. They're pretty easy to find. I found a pretty good stack during this hunt. And last but not least, I'm going to show you a normal 2020 Salt River Bay quarter. The word Liberty. See this? Normal. Except for this is a die chip I had there, I believe. No, it's not. Sorry, it's a double die. But otherwise, they're all versus normal. Check out this version here. Look at Liberty. Look at Liberty on this one. You see the extra splitting here along L on the right side of I and B and inside of it, and inside the E, and the extra thickness on the lettering right here. Even sees a little bit of splitting right here, and along the bottom, right side of quarter at the bottom as well. This is WDDO number 2 on the doubledie.com website. Again, normal Liberty, double die. The other one, double dye number 1, has a doubling on mainly on this side of the quarter and here. Well, you can see that pretty distinctly difference. That was one of my best finds out of the entire hunt. I love finding those. That is the second one of that variety I found so far. And on top of that, we found a few proofs. For the 2004 Texas proof quarter, S Mint, 2000 Virginia proof quarter, 2000 Maryland state quarter, and an older proof, 1974 S proof quarter. So 4 proofs out of the hunt. We also found a stack of S Mint coins with S's on the mint mark, as a mint mark anyway. Here's a War in the Pacific S. But I found a stack that tall of them. And last but not least, we're almost done. We found 2 Marsh Billings Rockefeller 2020 West Points. 2 of them. These are the second most difficult for me to find in this area. Also found a Tallgrass Prairie West Point. Found a Lowell, Massachusetts West Point. Found the most difficult one was the first one we found in American Memorial Park. These are so hard to find. But I'm glad I found one. I need these for sets. I also found 3 American Samoan back quarter West Points. I won't show them off because there are 3 of those. There's also a War in the Pacific 2019 West Point and a little bit of Ring of Death on it. Otherwise, it's in good shape, but it's a West Point. And 2 River of No Return 2019 West Points also. And last but not least, San Antonio Missions 2019 West Point as well. So in total, there were, I believe, 12 West Point quarters found, as well as 3 silvers. Found a 1947 Denver silver here. 47 Denver. Found a 61, I believe it's a Philly. No, actually it's a Denver too. 61 Denver. And a 64 Philadelphia. 64 is the most common years to find. I think these are all type 1s. I'll double check them. And that is everything. All right. All right. If you enjoyed that or learned something, I hope you did. That's a majority of what I find in my quarter hunts. I do save a lot of stuff. I'm kind of nitpicky about it, but it pays off sometimes. I mean, 3 silvers out of 7,000 quarters. That's basically what I'm finding about on average. And a dozen West Points. Honestly, the West Points are probably lighter than normal. I usually find about at least 1 per 2,000 quarters, about 1 per box, you could say. I didn't quite find that many, but I got close. These are all West Points here. So decent finds. It wasn't a bad hunt. I have done worse for sure. That's a pretty short video for live stream, huh? Usually my live streams are about 4 to 5 hours. As you can see, that's basically the majority of what I found right here. 3 decent silvers and 12 West Points. These West Points sell for around $10 a piece. So if you go through them and do the math, it's about, $120 in West Points. Maybe not that much because that one had some damage, but you know, give or take. The question is, what sells more? What sells for more, the quarters or the West Points? The West Points. Silvers are great. Silver quarters versus West Points. Silver sells for less than the West Points do, for now at least. So if you want to make money, West Points are the way to do it. Silver is great for stacking though. So it's kind of depends what your priorities are. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream and start getting this stuff picked up and put away. Thank you for joining me.